the motion man. Little flip to Fitzgerald, he scores! And the Cardinals win an amazing game.
Mikhail Bucker with a chance, he walks in, he scores! Mikhail Bucker for the second straight.
Hello, Sporty Nation. We apologize in advance for our audio technical difficulties, but we're still doing a show. We're back. Happy New Year, everybody. It is Sporty with Corey and Richie Suave. I'm Richie. Corey's over here with me, as always, of course. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I don't think we've done an episode probably since the Coyotes began their season, but we decided it's 2019, so we should probably get off our asses and do another show.
Yes, I mean, we do have our day jobs that take up a little bit of time. Yes, it is daylight outside, but it's a Saturday, so, we're off. But it's very nice to be back with you, Richie, and doing the show and being with you all, especially in a brand new year. So it's nice to be back.
Yes, our Sporty Nation has been wondering where we've gone for a while, I've noticed.
Which is so great. It's nice to see that everyone actually misses us, and it's a good thing to know and a good thing to see, so I'm very happy about that.
Yes. So coming up on this episode, the most commented thing we got. So Corey you put out our thing like, hey, we're hoping to come back. What do you want to talk about? And our number one response was talking Coyotes. Was it not?
Yes, which is actually a thing that we both enjoy seeing because of the fact that we're both hockey lovers, and on the show that you're on with the Freaks, a lot of times we won't mention someone on your team there, Clancy, who doesn't really like talking about hockey, so this is our opportunity to talk about hockey and your chance to be on air talking about hockey.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I'm also wearing a Coyotes shirt today because I knew we were going to talk about Coyotes, so I decided to wear my Coyotes polo. But let's see, where should we begin talking about this team? Because they're a very fascinating team, is the way I'd put it. Like it's hard to put a stamp on this team and figure out who they really are. So we're taping on Saturday, obviously. It is the 19th, I think.
It is, yes, the 19th.
Good, I got that right.
Our days
I just know it's the day before the NFC Championship game, which is on the front of my mind and on the front of my hat, too. I'm wearing my Rams cap today, so go Rams. Beat New Orleans tomorrow. So they're only, they're only 4 points out of the playoff spot. And this team is just it's a fascinating team with a bunch of injuries. So I think the question we wanted to pose today is this team a playoff team? The way they are constructed right now, being as they're right in the playoff race among, probably 5 other teams for one of those 2 wild card spots.
Yes, that would be Vancouver, Minnesota, and Edmonton. And Dallas is currently in the number 2 spot right now. But I am so fascinated by this team because they have more changes in this lineup than a person changes when they are hosting an award show.
Right.
Like, it is insane how many injuries that this team has had to withstand and be able to still keep moving in the direction that they're at. You have to give Tocchet some respect in the fact that he is able to keep this team afloat after having to have so many changes when it comes to, just running the plays that you had set up before, and the fact that you also have chemistry on those lines that you're also having to change all the time. And then you also have Darcy Kemper, who's been standing on his head most of this season, and it's been very impressive to see how he's come in since Ronta's injury as well.
Yeah, it's Rick Tocchet. So on this show, I think on this very show last year, at least I was very, very critical of Rick Tocchet. I thought he was completely in over his head. Remember, it was 20 games. The first 20 games of the season were a complete and total mess. They didn't win their first game until December. Rick Tocchet looked like he had no idea what he was doing. He was rolling out different lineups every single game and couldn't really figure it out. And then something clicked right at the end of last season. They started to get on this roll. And the last probably month of the season last year, they were one of the best teams in the NHL. And then all of a sudden, Rick Tocchet comes in this year with the same staff, more or less the same roster. Not a lot of changes this past offseason. and then he gets hit with all these barrage of injuries. You mentioned Antiranta, Michael Grabner is still hurt. Nick Schmaltz, who's acquired from the Blackhawks, is also hurt. He's done for the season. We have no idea when Grabner is coming back. Christian Dvorak is going to be out for long term. We don't know if he's coming back anytime soon. Apparently, he was on the ice skating somewhat recently. I'm missing some other players as well. Nick Schmaltz, I mentioned him. He's gone for the season. Who am I missing here?
Well, I mean, you also have to account for the fact of the players that are still playing, that still are getting the crap beaten out of them. Connor Garland scored a goal with his face. Mm-hmm. He still has a giant black eye. If you watched the game last night, you saw him after that goal was scored when he had taken that penalty. He had a massive black eye. There's nothing sadder than seeing that man with a black eye super sad because his penalty caused them a goal, which is actually kind of funny because of how horrible this team's power play has been all year. Usually, penalty kills are the more comfortable situation I'm in when I'm watching these games.
Right.
It's almost you would rather take the penalties because you are so much of a better team shorthanded. If there's a special teams part of this team that I would really always favor towards, it is their penalty kill. They are first in the league in it. And I think, what was the stat that was put out last night? That this is the 7th best or whatever since 1920.
Right.
Back when, they weren't even here. So, I mean, it's kind of impressive in that regard, but I'm not kidding you when I say I am scared a lot of times when they are on a power play.
Right.
Like, I've never seen so many shorthanded goals go for and against in a team in a single season.
Right. Well, last year's team, I think, set the record for amount of shorthanded goals given up last year. At least it's sure as heck seemed like it. And this year it's swapped where they have the 11 shorthanded goals this year, I believe, maybe 12. I could be wrong about that. And that's all, to me, that is completely on the coaching staff and Rick Tocchet and his ability to construct this penalty kill. And you have to give credit to John Chayka too, who made some moves to bring in a couple of guys. Jason Demers is hurt too, for goodness sake. He was the one guy I missed. He's out for the season too. And so you're missing him. You're missing Michael Grabner. Brad Richardson's been hurt at times this year, and yet you're still having one of the best penalty kills in the league. And that to me is incredible. And that is, if this team is going to make the playoffs, that is going to be probably the biggest reason why. And I don't think this team is going to make the playoffs. Frankly, they're not good enough. They can't score enough goals. Yeah, they can keep them out pretty well. They only gave up, 3 goals last night to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they held Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, and Phil Kessel down pretty much the entire regulation, and they finally scored it in overtime. But if your penalty kill is good, most of the time, that means your defense is good, and that means you're going to be at least in a position to make the playoffs. But their forward group, though, that's the problem. They can't score goals.
They can't score goals, and they're getting quite sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
As the season has gone on, I felt like as they've gotten sloppier, and especially their neutral zone play, has honestly, to me, not looked very good. You can't have that many turnovers in the neutral zone and be expected to be able to score goals because of the fact that you're never in your own offensive zone, and that's one part of the problem. And the other part of the problem is I just don't see them setting up plays properly. One of the goals that was scored, Stepan scored a goal for the first time in a while last night, and it was because he was in the right place at the right time. But even in that situation, I feel like they're not getting into the right spots on the side of the net and to get those rebounds off of the shots that people like OEL are launching back from the blue line. So that's the thing that I think they need to be working on a lot more, and it's just true. I mean, you can't have a situation where Clayton Keller, how many goals does he have at this point in the season?
He has 9. He scored his 9th last night.
I think it might have been his 10th. 9th or 10th. One of those two. 10th. It was his 10th goal last night. And he's your top goal scorer, which is so sad to me that we have no one on this team that is... No one can finish. And it's disappointing. And there's no other way to put it. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it sound nicer, but no one on this team can finish, and it's disappointing because they would be so much of a better team.
Yeah, and it says something about a team when your best goal scorer the last month of the season is Connor Garland. and he is all of 5'8" and 175 pounds. And the reason why he's scoring goals.
Size doesn't matter, Richie. It's how you use it.
Yes, okay, we'll go with that. And the reason why he's scoring goals is like what you talked about. The guy just seems like he doesn't have the skill or the shot or the speed that necessarily makes him an elite player, but he's just seemingly always in the right spot at the right time, right around the net, taking cross checks and scoring goals off his freaking face. And that's how this team is going to succeed is by doing exactly that, by doing what Stepan did last night, by doing what Connor Garland has been doing. And hopefully that's something that Taka is preaching to these players, because he does have guys that can do that, because we're not the forward group isn't that skilled. So, their bottom six is good, I'd say. They're a good that's what you want your bottom six to be, but they just don't have the finishing goal scorer. And to me, they have the assets to score those types of dirty goals that they're just unfortunately not getting.
Well, and that's part of the problem, is if you don't have the talented finesse players, you have to be grinding it out, and they're not winning enough board battles either. So any of that offensive zone play, it's not that caliber. It's not a playoff caliber offensive zone team. It's just not. I do have to point out that I am highly, highly impressed as a person who has been very critical of OEL over the years. Been very impressed by how he has stepped up this season and how he's stepped up with his team and the community. I think what he's shown this year has been very impressive.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He got off to a slow start earlier this season, but after getting into captaincy, but he's seemingly come around lately. He's starting to put up some more points of late. And actually, I wanted to look at his more of his analytics somewhat recently. This was in the last 2 weeks, so it may have been different. But look at a lot of his analytics and his relative possession metrics, as I like to look at, and his shot metrics. They're comparable to his earlier seasons when he was really good, and they're up from the previous seasons. He's just not getting on the point sheet as much as maybe we'd like him to see. But yeah, as someone who kind of criticized the Oliver Ekman-Larsson captaincy at the time, he's been fine. He's been better than expected, I guess, kind of coming off the heels of him taking over for Shane Doan as the captain of this franchise. So yeah, that was my good on you for mentioning OEL.
Yeah, thank you. I felt like I needed to, he hasn't done anything extraordinary by any means, but he hasn't failed, and that was one of the things that I was very afraid that he was going to do. And I think he's been very well off for himself for what he's been given. So I think I just needed to give him a little shout out there, and I thank you for noticing that. That was a big thing for me to say, because I have been very hypercritical of him lately, and I think that he's been doing a great job with what he's been given. Same with Tocchet.
Yeah, so both of us are no's on the Coyotes making the playoffs, correct?
No, but I think it is a good sign. It's good potential for the future. I mean, we're starting to get very I can't say we. They are starting to get very stocked when it comes to centers. It's just finding those wingers that are actually going to put the puck in the net. Finding a winger that can bury for this team is crucial. Yeah,
maybe at the end of the season they can kind of get on a roll, just barely miss the playoffs by like a few points, and then win the lottery and then get Jack Hughes. That would be ideal.
Yeah, winning the lottery? Yeah, unless we're the Oilers or we happen to just, I don't know, give our souls to the devil. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know why, but we're always jinxed when it comes to that.
Okay, so there's your Coyotes discussion, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We have more Coyotes probably coming up the rest of the season. Hopefully they're at least entertaining to watch the rest of the season. They have been of late. But I think it is now time. Corey, are you ready?
Ready for what?
Are you ready for Corey's Corner?
For Corey's Corner.
Yes, are you ready for Corey's Corner for the first time?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
In 2019?
I've just been so far out of Corey's Corner that I forget. Well, that's what you said. Are you ready, Corey? You didn't say Corey's Corner, and little C squared. That's okay.
So what do you got for Corey's Corner today?
I'm just trying to make Richie feel so uncomfortable right now. Now that I've succeeded, I feel good. Okay, so for my Corey's Corner, I really wanted to talk about this time. It's 2019, a whole new year. Let's all start fresh, because I feel like last year was the year of taking a giant shit on everyone on Twitter. Everyone has taken a giant shit on people on Twitter. And I just think that this year we need to take a step back and look at things and try and be a little bit kinder. Remember that there are people on the other side of your phone. When you say something, other people are reading it. Here in the Sporty Nation, we thoroughly enjoy just having fun, joking around, talking about sports. We try and make the show as much as we can as if you were sitting with your friends, just talking and hanging out. We were all doing it around a campfire last night, and we had a ton of fun, and that's kind of what we want to bring to it. And we are so incredibly grateful that all of our fans are reasonable and sensible and are nice to us. But I see a lot of hatred that's always going around on Twitter, whether it happens to be, in the World Juniors, there's people completely annihilating some of the kids that played on, I think it was Team Canada that they were annihilating. And you have to understand that there is so much more than just the sport itself. It's the people within those sports, and the same goes for media. So I think the best thing for us to do in 2019 is to get back to the fun, heartfelt discussions that we have about sports and be able to agree to disagree, and get back to talking about the sports themselves and breaking it down and doing all the things that we enjoy as sports fans and sports media, as opposed to you are a piece of shit for thinking this way, because it doesn't really benefit to the conversation at all, and I just think it's a giant waste of all of our times. So I would love for us in 2019 to get back to having a nice, civil, if that's possible, discussion about sports again. Thank you, and that's my Corey's Corner for 2019 of the beginning. Here we go.
Yeah, that was a New Year's resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
That was my introduction. Like, this is my beginning to 2019. Here we go. Let's do something good with it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, because I think I know why you decided to talk about that on this particular day. But I'm not going to talk about that on this show. You can go read Twitter and probably figure it out. We'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just leave it at that. Okay, so on this show, Corey, we like to we do talk about sports, but we also enjoy some fun discussions too. So last night, people, like I said, we were talking around the campfire with a bunch of people, our friends at the Sporty Nation, and there was a topic that came up, and everybody looked at me when I said something, and they all thought I was crazy. Which is, I asked you, it was like, hey, what movie are you most looking forward to this year? And you said?
I said, of course, Avengers Endgame. Duh.
And I said?
Star Wars.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get into that for a moment. Let's talk about kind of some of the things some of the movies, TV shows, whatever, that we're looking forward to in 2019. So I don't disagree with you that of course I'm looking forward to Avengers Endgame. I'm coming off of Infinity War, which is, to me, the best movie that the MCU has ever done, but it's not the movie that is number one on my list, which of course is Star Wars. So why are you looking forward to Endgame as your number one?
Because I can't handle the stress that is going through every bit of my body waiting for it. Because everyone thinks Iron Man's going to die. If you don't know me, I love Iron Man, and I am not going to be happy if Iron Man dies. You will not want to be around that theater. I will be probably throwing shit. I am not even kidding you. I will not be happy. I'm okay with Captain America dying, because he's a Boy Scout and he annoys the hell out of me.
That's mean. Don't say you want Captain America to die.
I love the actor who plays him, but I can't. No, he is such a Boy Scout. Oh, and he decided he wanted to quit acting. Did he decide that he was officially done with acting now, or did he decide that he's coming back in another movie? Because initially he was going to quit acting when his Marvel contract was up.
I have no idea, but don't you ever disparage Captain America on this show.
I have a Captain America miniature replica shield.
Yeah,
I respect the idea of the actual character itself. I just hate how much of a Boy Scout he is.
See, that's like me criticizing Iron Man, which I will never do. Because Iron Man is awesome. I love Iron Man.
Yeah, I can't do it.
It's like taking a crap on any of the Avengers. Like, are you going to take a crap on Groot next?
No, Groot's cute. I also have a giant picture of Groot. I'm a giant nerd, if you haven't noticed. And I mean,
both of us are.
Yeah, like going to him wanting to see. I love Star Wars. Believe me, I love Star Wars. I just got this really cool metal Darth Vader that was from the part in Rogue One where he comes in and there's all like the red smoke. Is super cool. Love it. It's one of my favorite things now. But I can't believe this is supposed to be the end, Richie, of a 10-year span of something that was a part of your childhood, part of something that made you love all of this, that made you want to go to Comic-Con all of the years in a row that we've been going, which we're going for the 50th year anniversary this year, by the way. But that is part of what made you enjoy all of this. And it brought comic books that people had been reading that were like our parents had read to life. This is the end of that 10-year span, and that's not the thing that you're looking forward to.
No, like I said, I don't disagree with you with anything what you said, but I am just more looking forward to something that's been on the screen for 40 years, which is Star Wars Episode 9 is going to be the end of the Skywalker saga as we know it.
I think it could be the fact that I have such a problem with the way that they're taking Star Wars right now, which I can't go into. It's going to take me forever. I mean...
See, this all goes back...
terrible.
Yeah, the only reason you're not looking forward to Star Wars as much as Avengers is because you didn't like Last Jedi.
It's terrible.
And I think we discussed this.
Absolutely terrible.
I loved it.
Terrible.
I loved it, and that's part of the reason why I'm looking forward to seeing Star Wars Episode 9 more so.
So what? Everyone gets to just be a Jedi now? Everyone has the Force in them? That's like...
Yeah, that's the whole point of the movies, isn't it?
That's as if, like... It is as if you were saying that everyone could be a SEAL. Yep, everyone's just going to be a SEAL. Yep. Everyone's going to be able to pass the training. It's not a big deal. Nope.
The Force surrounds us. It binds us.
But the Jedis are the most elite of the elite.
Is there any other movies you're looking forward to other than those two?
I don't know. I can't think of anything now. You got me all riled up.
There's Captain Marvel's coming out.
Ooh, Captain Marvel will be good.
Spider-Man Far From Home is coming out.
I like the new Spider-Mans. I never really liked the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. I can't. That one's another one that's like, whiny. Let's lay in my web that I made for you, and let's stare up at the stars. And can't handle that one either.
To each their own.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be crapping on me for all their... I love Spider-Man.
My other movie I'm looking forward to this year that is non-nerd related is, are you a fan of Quentin Tarantino?
Yes, to some extent. Some of his stuff gets batshit crazy.
Yes, it does. Quentin Tarantino is probably... Him and Christopher Nolan are probably my two favorite directors because both of them have never made a bad movie.
Was he the one that did Inglourious Basterds?
Yes.
See, I love Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious Basterds.
That's a little batshit crazy, but I love it.
Django Unchained. He did Pulp Fiction.
I like Pulp Fiction.
Jackie Brown. Kill Bill, which is probably my favorite Tarantino.
I don't actually think I've ever watched any of the Kill Bills.
Oh, there we go. We're doing a Kill Bill movie night soon.
Oh, movie night.
Yes.
We got a movie night movie.
Yes.
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yes. Scotty said we have to do Silence of the Lambs.
And Silence of the Lambs. So yeah, those are two of my favorite movies. So anyway, the reason why I mentioned Quentin Tarantino quickly before we move on to our final topic is he has his next movie is coming out. It is called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's based around the Manson murders in Los Angeles at the time in the late 60s. And it has Brad Pitt. It's got an insane cast. It's got Margot Robbie's in it for sure.
Yeah, all the guys will love that.
It's got it's got a bunch of others, and I am looking. That's the third favorite movie I'm looking forward to this year. I think it's coming out in the summer.
Wait, so you said Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie? Is that what you said?
Yes, and others. Other big names too. There's a couple others.
Do you just have to be gorgeous to be in this movie?
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes.
Okay. everyone's just going to be slightly, I'm not even going to go there, but they're going to be a little excited watching this movie, I feel like.
Yes, I am.
Attractive people.
I definitely am. And speaking of attractive people, I'm glad we are making that transition. We wanted to talk about Corey was the one that came up with this idea, so I'm going to toss it to you about
Partially because my mom keeps on telling me how frustrated she is that everyone thinks he's so drop dead gorgeous, and he's not drop dead gorgeous.
Who are we talking about?
Kliff Kingsbury.
Yes, the new head coach of the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that the narrative that has come out of this is the team had a horrible season.
Yeah.
And so, you get a new head coach, you're thinking this is a new direction for the team, he's offensive minded, it's going to be exciting. No, he's gorgeous. He looks like Ryan Gosling. He's so gorgeous. I think that's hilarious. That's the narrative that's going with this. I mean, believe me, I appreciate a good-looking man, but I just don't think that is the narrative that should be playing throughout this. Is that what Arizona sports has come to?
Apparently it has. First of all, when it comes to gorgeous coaches, I think I know one coach who beats out Kliff Kingsbury. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know. I don't know what you find attractive, Richie.
It's Sean McVay.
Oh, yes. Who you call Sean McVay.
Yes. I literally just found out this past week that is because his girlfriend was spotted at the Cowboys-Rams game wearing a shirt that literally just said McVay with Sean McVay's face on it. And first of all, I want one. I want a McVay shirt.
See, yeah, someone in Sporty Nation, find him a McVay shirt. We'll take a picture. We'll put it up on everything. Someone please find him that shirt. I really want to see him wearing that shirt.
But yeah, I agree. There's we didn't talk much about on the Freaks about Kliff Kingsbury's attractiveness, right? We're more worried about his football acumen more so than anything else. But I did see a lot of women who are now Cardinals fans because of him.
Hey, I mean, if it does raise the amount of women watching the NFL, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the NFL, good for the sport. I think that's still a strange narrative to be. People actually had articles on this.
Yes.
Like, it was straight up, like, someone woke up, was like, I'm going to write an article today, and I'm going to write it about how attractive he is. That is crazy to me. Just so crazy.
We're going to forget about when the Cardinals go 1-6 to start their season.
Yeah. I mean, everyone is saying that since he is so offensive-minded, that it might be fun because they're going to... But I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be a fun 1-6.
That's what they say. It'll be exciting, even though they're losing. Yeah, no matter how you slice it, losing is never fun.
No, it's not. But you know what is fun? Sometimes, depending on the topic.
Sometimes I think it's fun for you because you get it off your chest.
Yes.
That would be Richie's stick of the week.
Yes, thank you very much, Corey. I'm glad you knew where I was going with that as I turned to my camera over here.
Live TV. Nothing is non-awkward about live TV.
So my dick of the week this week is John Engler. He was, thankfully, the interim president at Michigan State University over the past year in the wake of the Larry Nassar scandal at Michigan State. Now, it was announced this week that he resigned, finally and thankfully, after a year of really disgusting moves that he made throughout the past year. You could, from the moment this guy took over as the interim president at Michigan State, you could tell that he did not give a rat's ass about any of those poor women who were abused by Larry Nassar. He didn't give a shit about them from the moment that he took office. He multiple times made false accusations against them. He at one point was accused of one of the women of taking bribes, basically, in hush money. And then this past week, he stated on the record that these Nassar victims were more worried about getting into the spotlight and becoming famous than anything else. And for whatever reason, that was the final straw for this guy, because Michigan State ended up calling their board of governors calling a meeting this past week where they were going to discuss his future, and more like he was going to get fired, thankfully, but he resigned prior to doing so. And now, hopefully, Michigan State can find a president who actually cares about these women rather than lining their own pockets or lining the pockets of the university with more money, and they understand that this university needs to find a better place. And with that, that is going to wrap up this edition of Sporty with Corey and Richie Suave. Thank you so much for watching us with terrible audio. We apologize. Hope we will have it better next week. If you're listening, thank you for listening. Corey, I'll give you the last word.
I am not going to say hello this time, so don't you both keep looking at me like that. They put me under a hard pressure one time. I accidentally said hello instead of goodbye, so thank you. I appreciate that. Great way to start off 2019. Yes, I would like to give a little shout out to our podcast listeners, because we never really give them too much of a shout out, because we're always talking to our YouTube watchers here. But so if you are listening on our podcast, thank you for listening as well. And if you're watching us, I hope you enjoyed seeing our gorgeous faces for the first time in 2019, and can't wait to have an amazing year with you all. See you and talk to you all soon on all of our social medias, at Corey_Richie Show, at Corey Nicole, and rFlores91. Let us know what you think, and have a good 2019.
Go Rams.
Go Patriots.
Good night, good sports, everybody.